Situation Report, American Front, August 1939. Generalstaffeln. Armored divisions have linked up with Union forces near Memphis, cutting lines of communication and completing the entrapment of what constitutes the majority of the 3rd Syndicalist Army. An estimated 8 line divisions, accompanied by 12 divisions worth of militia irregulars, are encircled around Little Rock. Pacific States Frontline Command has issued radio commands to the enemy with a deadline to surrender, but from what we hear, they are determined to fight to the end, believing that they'll be relieved. They seem unaware that their forces south of Memphis have already capitulated and their front line has been pushed back to Louisville. Situation Report, Italian Front, August 1939. General Drozdowski. Heroic efforts by the 60th and 64th Mountain have established and held a forward position west of Ancona with great difficulty. Probing attacks into the city have failed so far due to the vast numerical superiority on the enemy's side. Troops are exhausted from months of continuous fighting, but will hold the line against relentless counterattacks. Unless the Papal States begin committing the 12 divisions they hold in reserve around Rome, no further attacks will be ordered. Situation Report, Syrian Front, August 1939. General Torkul. Despite repeated tactical victories over Ottoman forces, the situation remains unstable, and the front lines are fluid. Egyptian regulars and Syrian tribal forces do not coordinate, and more often than not, field commanders attack for personal glory, leaving vast openings for the more professional Ottomans to exploit. We have rushed 68th, 69th and 75th Guards back and forth between Aleppo in the north and the Jerusalem line in the south. Each time we leave, front lines collapse as the regulars begin fighting each other over religious disputes or leave their posts to pillage. Situation Report, Chinese Front, August 1939, General Casagrande. Fighting had devolved into Weltkrieg-style trench warfare with minimal gains at massive costs over months. However, the Japanese forces are better equipped and trained, and every time Chinese frontal assaults fail to achieve results, it opens up for Japanese counterattacks. Naval landings south of Tianjin, if not contained, threatens to collapse the whole front. If Beijing is to fall, there's not much that stands in the way of total defeat for the Qing. We're starting to build up the front lines for the eventual inevitable war against the Reichspakt, and starting to amass some serious amounts of infantry divisions along the lines here. That said, we're still at 145 divisions overall, so we still have some ways to go. And obviously equipment is a problem because we are relatively short on a lot of things, and especially on armored equipment, which we're still building the factories for. Construction is mostly focused on military factories at this point, just to get the equipment out of the door as quickly as possible. On the ground, around the theaters, not an awful lot is happening. However, I am somewhat tempted. So I have decommissioned the old guards template, Guards Division template, because that was lacking a lot of support companies. That said, I don't know if I can switch everything over to the new one just yet, because that would obviously put a massive dent in logistics. That said, it would be a good indicator as to what's actually still lacking. So I think that it's not necessarily a terrible idea to do that. So I might go through you see these are all outdated. So it's one good way to do this, actually, in my personal opinion. If you want to change templates around, to create a new template, use it sparingly while you have to, but then start decommission the old one, which gives you the marker for these things. So if we'd have to change all of this to new, this is just the Second Army. We are short on artillery and flame tanks and anti-air quite a bit, because the old ones don't even have divisionary AA. So that will give us a bit more of an indicator of how far we are. So I'm actually going to do that. And that also allows us to start training these divisions up. So let's go through them. These only have 2 guards divisions in them. So we're going to get these changed as well. We have a fair amount of guards divisions. So that gives us I can always change them around if I need to, but it gives us a better logistical stance, and these are just regulars. And I think these armies are different. Yes. Okay, so that'll give us a relatively good idea how much equipment is missing and where the production needs to flow into. All right, so that out of the way, let's get to the fighting. And I think this should not be too hard. These troops are not getting out of there. And so probably the Egyptian position is one that we need to watch right now. And obviously the Chinese situation where things are rather dire. But I think we'll be managing to get through the Ottoman camel defenders here. They've reinforced, but can we push them out before that happens? Let's see. But we do need to check on the Chinese front. Okay, troops need to move urgently. They've probably been attacked. Troops need to urgently move out and get to defeating the Japanese naval landings south of the port here. And hopefully they can hold Beijing. Here tanks are in position, so we can start pushing the enemy back towards Little Rock and prevent them from moving out. In Sicily, we're basically, the 34th is retreating at this point, and I think I'm going to retreat the other divisions as well, because we have 5 Papal States divisions here, and I need to get my divisions a little bit off the combat lines. So let's get them off the lines for now, and let the Papal troops really deal with it, because there's enough of them to hold that, I think. We have rescued the entrapped 10th Egyptian and a Syrian rebel division. Now it's our turn, and I think there's one supply hub here. So let's try to recapture the supply position at Tabuk and just kind of push them a bit further. Well, south isn't really helping, because there's attacks coming in from the desert at all times, which is always irritating. So we might actually have to secure these desert positions a little bit towards the east at some point. North is Aleppo is probably going to fall again. The Egyptian regulars are already being pushed back, so we might have to swing back north relatively soon. But for now, let's. It'd be nice to encircle some troops here, but they have too much space eastwards. So for now, let's simply get the assault, get the counterattack going, and see that we widen the lines a bit. Troops here are still moving north of Baghdad for a further assault against Mosul. Chinese volunteers are coming under instant attack on the front lines again. I do need them to fall back and make their way towards the Japanese naval landings here, because that is going to be absolute mayhem to pay otherwise. Tank divisions arriving, and we'll push them back to Little Rock. Let's see if we can get them to surrender. And friendly troops for now just need to recover a little bit, and we'll see. The assault against Ancona is, with this amount of opposition, is not going to really happen. So we might try to just remove the lines here, get the troops to fall back, and see if we can. While the papal troops are holding the lines, see if we can mount a counterattack and just widen the front a bit, push them back, and see if we can make anything happen towards Terni. That might be an option as well. While the main force of the papal states still remain uncommitted, and if the Italians aren't fighting for Italy, then who will? Okay, troops falling back here. They should be able to hold that position by themselves without too much trouble. But we'll see if we can widen the lines here a bit once the divisions have recovered their organization. And please fall back if you can. And we have completed survivability studies. Still trying to disengage from the furious Japanese attacks along the lines here. Fortunately, they're still contained. Haven't managed to break out yet. So as long as, but I think Tianjin is the problem. So if they manage to take Tianjin and overcome the coastal forts, then they have supply, and then it's going to be so much more difficult to break them out from there. So we do need to manage to get disengaged from the front lines. Obviously, they are aware of that, so they're attacking us everywhere. But with survivability studies done, we can probably work our way towards... we do need better engines as well. We can work our way towards a better airframe, a high-speed airframe, and that would significantly improve. Let's do that. That would significantly improve upon things. That is, however, going to take 200 days. So I think until that's done, we'll have a quick look if we can do anything about the I-180 and make any improvements. So we can upgrade that, obviously. But we're currently running light machine guns, so rifle caliber guns. We could throw in some heavy machine guns on top, but not much more because we're running out of weight. Alternatively, we could throw the armor plates out, but so we could remove the armor plates. How much was that on air defense? 4 air defense, but minus 10% range. And we could use the we can use the self-sealing fuel tanks instead, which uses less of that, and then throw heavy machine guns in. That's too much. So we could remove the self-sealing fuel tanks and basically make a pure assault version that is much less that is in return less resilient with the I-180M, and start producing that. That might be worth it because the air attack is just with a switch to larger caliber guns is going to be significantly higher. So if we compare that to the I-70U, yeah, that's almost doubling the air attack on that for a slight decrease in air defense and a better range, actually. So I think that's worth it. Save that variant, and we'll switch the production, which is not having an awful lot of efficiency build up anyway. So we'll switch that. Can we speed this up? Yes, we can speed this up by conversion. So let's convert what we can on old planes into the I-180Ms and get as many more modern planes out as we possibly can, because the old ones are just going to be shot down pretty much anyway. All right, so that's done. And I should really have done this first. Oh, bugger, I didn't see that we actually had an upgrade on the designer. Let's see what we can find. Because now I have to spend another 5 air XP. That's fine. Another 5 air XP on the model. All right, we can get air okay, so we've been going down air attack and range. This would be air superiority and range. This would be. We're not fighting for air. I'm tempted to go towards range here. We'll just do that with the next model. This is 10% air attack, 10% air attack, 5% air defense, or yeah, I would go for the improved ammunition and probably for the range. Let's do the range here, and no, we'll just upgrade. We'll just upgrade that. Yeah, okay, let's upgrade it. Where's the model? There's the I-180M, and obviously we need to upgrade that for 935 range. Save that, and then we'll have to switch it out again. There we go. All right, perfect. So the M was an aborted design because I didn't pay attention. Anyway, all right, let's get back to things where let's actually see what the logistics are looking like. It's not too terrible, to be honest. We're a bit short on AA and artillery, really. 70 days and 481 days on the anti-air, but we are, I think, adding additional AA factories on, and Yeah, we're still adding 2 more factories on AA, so that should work itself out. Support equipment, we're fine. Heavy flame tanks is the obvious problem. Well, we could try to just purchase some, but for now, we don't really need to do that. So this is good news, which means we've mostly modernized the divisions which are currently in training, which only leaves us with the regular line division, which is lacking field hospitals. The problem is, if I am going to put field hospitals in there, that needs more trucks than we currently have available. So we're a bit short still there, but we'll do that eventually, just to prevent excessive losses. All right, China, we're still trying to extract ourselves, and we are falling back from the Sicilian lines here for the time being. We're letting the papal troops hold this position while we are finding a better venue, and we'll try to push towards Terni. I think Terni is a supply hub? No, it is not. Ancona really would be the supply position. But we'll see what we can do, and if we can break this stalemate in some way. Obviously, naval landings would be a possibility if we were not engaged in with volunteer forces. So we don't actually have any kind of command over this. Now that's a lot of divisions here, but I will probably hold back on the assault for now. Let them defeat the counterattack here. And then we'll get all 3 divisions to join in. We have divisions still moving towards Baghdad on the Persian side, and in the States we are making progress. So we'll clear out this side of the river, and in fact we can probably already get the other tank division starting to push Little Rock itself, and see if we can convince the enemy to surrender here. China, we're still making our way out, and there's only 1 division, the first remaining in Tianjin, so we may actually have to go there first. So we might send the 67th to Tianjin, because that is essential, and then the 66th and the 65th can move for the counterattack. All right, so we have to hold the position in Tianjin. That is absolutely essential. Otherwise, defeating this invasion is going to be so much more difficult. Troops here need to rest and recover a little bit. Yeah, we've got 6. They've got 6 divisions up in the mountains in the Ancona position, so that should not be too much of a problem. Troops here are in position for the assault, so let's begin pushing the Ottomans back into the desert and taking their supply hubs. So the task here is to push through the enemy forces. Join battle. They are on low supply already, and I think they don't have much. They'll have to make do with what they have in the desert. But if we take the position north of Tabuk, then that should put a bit of a crink into their northern flank here, especially that they no longer hold Baghdad. Talking about which, we have the divisions in place now, and that means we can try to push north towards Mosul and see if we can, what we might do is see if we can, this is just one Ottoman division, see if we can cut off and defeat the Ottomans here, and actually start linking up with the Syrian front. That might actually not be a terrible idea. See if we can manage to break through this, and then leave 1 division behind and try and cut off the Ottoman troops here along the lines. The Australasian Confederation has joined the Entente. That means there has been some change in government going on, because last time we looked, these people were syndicalists. News from Canberra. Shocking news from the Republic of Australasia, as the Australasian Guard, a group of right-wing authoritarians who have long criticized the Australasian government for not going far enough in its suppression of syndicalism, and who lost in their recent electoral bid by a fair margin, have seized control of the government. Now, if you are up against the popular opinion, that can generally lead to some problems. Led by Field Marshal Thomas Blamely, the new government immediately promised that the Republic of Australasia would do whatever it took to stamp out syndicalism within Australasia. Blamey also stated Australasia would dedicate itself fully to the Entente Alliance as a proud and loyal member of the British Empire. Demonstrations have already broken out across the nation, and thus Australasia faces an uncertain and likely unstable future. There could be potentially a civil war here. Currently, the Entente, if we're looking, the Entente is engaged in the Indian subcontinent against trying to regain control over the old Raj. They are holding parts in North Africa, but the Reichspakt has a strong foothold in the center. There are some disparate parts after they failed to win over South Africa, and then there's obviously Canada and Portugal. But all in all, the Entente is quite scattered, and I am afraid potentially not as much of a threat as they once were. Which is, given that we need the Third International against the Reichspakt, not a bad thing, but might give us blowback in the long term. All right, let's see if we can manage to push through here. But before we do that, quick look at China. Okay, are we defending in Tianjin? We are. We're just going to have to reinforce the dug-in first here. First might be able to hold it on their own, but we do need additional forces. They've landed 3 divisions so far, which are obviously trying to cross the river into the port of Tianjin in the south, from the south. But they are without supply. They've only got what they've brought with them. So we'll see if we can manage to push them back into the ocean and defeat this landing attempt. All in all, it's 5 divisions, so it's not actually that much of a threat. That said, we are now, I think, now we need to let these divisions recover a little bit before we make any more moves. Which brings us to Persia, where we are actually struggling to push the Ottomans out, to my great surprise. There's a fair amount of them, but they are quite. We're starting to face a few quite experienced divisions. Surrounding them is going to be, with 3 divisions, almost impossible because they can always retreat south. So we will see if we can manage to dislodge them from their positions there. While Aleppo has fallen in the north, and with Aleppo fallen, I think the friendly troops, the Syrians, are extremely short on equipment by the looks of it. Do we have any to spare? We do have infantry equipment to spare, so let's see if we can send some to the. We can send some. Do we have some foreign equipment potentially still laying around? We do. They can have that, and. They can have whatever old rifles we have laying around. These are the ones we're producing, and we've got a fair few in stock, so we'll probably send them about 1,000 of those. So for whatever good it will do, we will supply the Syrians with additional equipment. And we are, in terms of decisions, actually doing relatively decently. We could spend political power to start... to start messing with the Reichspakt, but we are really short on. We are really short on political power. We have a lot of things specifically. We finally got limited conscription, but we need to get out of early mobilization into partial. That is just quite essential. But we also need to get the political advisors up, which is even more essential. So. And we need the military high command to be staffed. Fortunately, we do have the staff car decision once war breaks out. The State Defense Committee, which is going to make this all cheaper. So it might actually be prudent almost to hold back on that until then and bank political power. However, obviously there are advantages to having these in as well. We'll see. For now, Chinese front. Okay, we're holding Tianjin. In the States, they're actually trying to counterattack us now. The completely exhausted Illinois Red Guards. Yeah, they're really not getting anywhere. and we're waiting for the 4th to make its way around, and the other ones are just waiting for the counterattacks to cease. Then we can potentially, we'll give it a shot. It is across the river line, but they are so exhausted that I don't think they'll have any kind of resistance to offer us. 4th is now engaged against the last remaining defenders in the enemy headquarters in Little Rock, which, despite the fact that they are out of supply, actually are putting up quite some fierce resistance. Because these are not just, especially the line divisions are actually quite skilled, experienced from long fighting, and having a fair few things to go for them. We could do an industrial. Do we have one? Oh, we have one for 50. Synthetics. Ooh, that might be tempting for later. Actually, that's very cheap for a concern, and it would improve the fuel gain per oil. But that said, I think we are doing okay on oil by now. We're actually importing too much rubber by now. We can stop the imports from Siam. For now, we might need that later, but that's because we're converting old airframes at this point. So we're not actually using any resources. All right. China. We have started engaging the Japanese troops, and we can support now with the 67th from the north. And these are encircled, so they're not going anywhere. And with that, I think we have defeated that naval incursion at great cost to the Japanese, which is great. Sicily. Troops are still recovering. I don't necessarily trust the papal guards and the papal troops in the north to be effective in their defense here. We will see. They're prone to attacks when they shouldn't be attacking, but we're making progress in the south, and then we'll have to swing back north again. How is it looking? I do need to change the front lines, so we're getting these troops moving out, and they need to actually assist with the assault. We will see if we can manage to cut off the enemy retreat here and catch one or two Ottoman divisions. And actually, we might be able to do this directly. We might not actually even have to push them north. Yeah, we can do this. Okay, let's leave one division here, and we'll literally just push across the river against the exhausted 12th, and then clear out the Ottoman cavalry there. So let's pop that. China, we have defeated the Japanese invasion, and that was the first major victory, I believe, against Japanese forces. 33,000 Japanese have surrendered after some vicious fighting on the beaches, and that means we can get the troops back into position for a potential opportunity north. And once again, we will see if we can find an opportunity to cut off some of the Japanese troops here from the front lines. But other than that, we'll help defend. Sicily, we are getting counterattacked at this point. Yeah, the papal troops are starting to lose ground in the north here. We will try, if we are once they stop cycle attacking us here. We will try to push towards Terni and widen the lines a little bit, and see if we can get some enemy troops out from there. But okay, now we are free. So launch the assault on Terni. No. Directly on Terni, please. Okay, 3 divisions, and yeah, 3 divisions engaging on the attack against the mountain positions east of Terni, and then we'll see if we can manage to push through there. But that'll lengthen the lines a little bit, and we'll see if we can make any breakthroughs there. The Greek wish to purchase. The Greek actually are engaged in I don't even know what war are they engaged in. Current wars. That's the Greek-Serbian War. So it's Romania, Albania, and Serbia against against the Kingdom of Greece. So that seems to be going in the Greeks' favor at this point. Honestly, I'm gonna let them fight this out, because we have other problems really that we need to worry about. And Those involve an additional division that has shown up to defend here, but we'll see what we can do there. Chinese troops. Oh, okay, the Japanese have actually broken out. Yeah, they've broken out east here. Okay, that's not ideal. We need to try and push them back. Let's see if we can do that. Can I? Oh, there it is. Okay, so we want to be here. And we want to, where are my divisions? 3 of them. Let's move here and see if we can push the Japanese back from their consolidated position along the river line here, which is going to be hard, but we will see what we can achieve. In the States, the last stand really, Little Rock has fallen, and it's the last stand of the Syndicalists, and their whole Eastern Field Army has been entrapped, which means the lines are now, the syndicates are finished. It's now the question of how are the Pacific states and the Union state going to deal with this situation. Is their fragile truce going to hold or not? Sicily obviously immediately counterattacked, but we were still trying to push out and trying to gain some ground here. Egypt, we're making progress. Here we're making progress as well. And China, we're moving. Okay. So the big question will become, the third is a bit exhausted, so we'll get the fifth engaged. The big question is how are they going to handle the eventual collapse of the syndicates? Because once we're done in Little Rock, I think there is not an awful lot going to be left standing from the syndicalist forces. I don't know how many Japanese troops have pushed out here and obviously taken the fortifications along the lines, but we will give it a shot. We'll see if we can get them dug out before they manage to entrench themselves there. The papal troops are getting pushed back rapidly in the north here. We'll see if they can manage to reinforce in time. And we are making progress through the mountains here at westwards, which is better than what we've had previously. And then we will see if we can follow up the assault or if we reinforce the Ancona position, because the amount of enemy troops there is just atrocious. Almost broken through here. All right, and that means we have an encircled Ottoman division that we can clear out. In China, we have started engaging 2 divisions only, but obviously consistent counterattacks. We're still waiting for the rest of the mountain troops to join in. We will try to dig these 2 cavalry divisions out of there before things get worse. The Germans demand compensation once more, and we could spend political power, or we could give them the opportunity or give them a good reason to embargo us once more, which is hurting, especially in terms of factory output, which is something that I do need the political power. I think we'll take it on the chin, because we really, really need the political power at this point. And we're only 60 days away from completing our disentanglement with the German industry. So I think no deal with the Prussians for now. So that's good or bad. We will see how it turns out. We have a destroyer dockyard. What are we using this for? That is. We're using that for the Admiral Ushakov cruiser hull. Okay, so let's see what we can actually get here. This is again. Give me a second. This is a bit more complex than it used to be. Okay, so this has some interesting side effects, if I can see that. We can do the collaboration with national companies, which is granting fund bonuses to random MIOs. Now, are these MIOs that we're actually using? Are these just naval MIOs? Who knows? But it doesn't give a direct bonus. It just gives this one. This one gives none of these actually gives direct bonuses. These do. So, but that said, I'm actually curious to see what happens, because we don't really have an awful lot of a focus on the naval forces. So we are. I'll try this collaboration with national companies, and we will see what that does. Now, unfortunately, it hasn't told me, and I don't see any MIO popping up right now. So we'll see what comes of that. But I think our assault here is faltering, unfortunately. So we're going to have to, because of relentless counterattacks from the east, and the position in the north isn't holdable anymore, given the sheer weight of the enemy forces here. So this is unless the Italians can start engaging these forces and actually start making something happen, and they're losing ground in the north as well. I don't see how we can break this, because we are outnumbered by a vast margin at this point, especially that the majority of the friendly forces actually refuse to fight. We've got 17 divisions basically just standing by doing nothing, and only a few of us are fighting up in the north. But with that, we're purely defensive, and I don't think we can necessarily break through this, despite the fact that despite the early victories that have been bought with much bravery and blood by the Russian forces, we are just relegated to trying to hold the line, to be honest, at this point. And I think once we leave, that might actually go worse. In the States, we have managed to capitulate the last remnants of the enemy forces here. And that's all in all 40,000, 60, 100, almost 130,000 men have capitulated or been left on the ground in the last stand at Little Rock. With that, the syndicate front has completely collapsed in this area, and there's only small amounts of enemy divisions left. So that leads to the question, what do we do next here? And I think we will probably they're clearing out the situation in the north with infantry, as they should. We can probably where have they moved their capital to? Washington, obviously, yes. So we can join the Indianapolis front and then just start chipping away at things here. But I think this is now momentum-wise firmly in our favor. From Indianapolis, we could push towards Columbus or south past Louisville and try to join. Yeah, we'll probably go for a southern assault and see if we can chew away at the remnants of the enemy divisions here, completely collapse the front, and then the infantry can just walk all over the place. So that would be relatively good. Sicilian situation, yeah, is not happening. Despite our best efforts, our efforts are being squandered by the inaction of the Papal forces. And that leaves us with the Middle East, where we are, I think, making some progress here. But the Guards divisions are starting to become relatively exhausted. Are these still the old ones? I thought I changed these. They should be. We'll change them over. That means they're lacking equipment, but they'll get it eventually. And for now, we'll just hold the position here against the enemy counterattack, and then see if we can use the momentum to push south. We are actually thought we had pacified most of the region relatively successfully. However, what was left of the Turkestani rebels have regrouped in Turkestan Range and the Hindu Kush Mountains under command of Junaid Khan. There are various other groups, some finding refuge from the Chinese side of the border in the Tian Shan Mountains. From these friendly mountain bases, the rebels have been launching raids deep into our territory, attacking our military units and centers of administration. Their doomed fight continues to inspire men to join their cause, promising that one day Turkestan shall once more be free. 25% resistance target, Was it actual resistance? No, that was actual resistance. Sheesh. Well, it's gonna start decaying pretty much immediately. There is going to be some spillover, but it should be starting to decay almost immediately. So, unfortunately, that'll draw manpower and infantry equipment away from things. Unfortunately, but as not much we can do about it. All right. So the Papal troops have not been able to hold the position north of Ancona, and are actually now retreating south across the river. While the troops near Rome still are very reluctant to actually get into the fight, and with that, I think we are relegated to a the Russian troops have done what they could, and we'll just defend here at this point. We are in China trying to break these two Japanese divisions out, and we might be able to achieve that. Are we redeploying the? We might be better off. We might be better off just sending them via railway if we can. And apparently we can't. Okay, because that is. So the front lines have shifted. That's why. Okay, so we do want to deploy to Indianapolis. And that means these two divisions need to go there, and that now that it's no longer you can't strategically redeploy directly to the front lines, so that should speed things up a little bit. Sicily will just dig in here at this point, and in Egypt, what happened? Oh, did the day-night cycle suddenly turn on? Yeah. In Egypt, the troops need to rest and recover, but we will stay in this province with the goal of pushing further south. But for now, they do need to recover. We're still trying to destroy that encircled Ottoman division here, which turns out to be more difficult than it should be. And that leaves us. Let's keep an eye on the Chinese situation, where we do have to defend against relentless assaults from the north. But if we can push back the Japanese before they can entrench themselves and retake the fortifications here, that would be an important position to hold. And how's the air situation? Yeah, we're fighting under red air. Yes, we're fighting under relentless Japanese air attacks. That makes things a lot more difficult, actually. But we should have AA actually on these. Yeah, we do have support AA, so I was expecting some planes to be shot down. It doesn't seem to be the case. All right, troops here making their way to the front lines, and then we'll be planning the next assault here. But we will just roll with it. And here we will literally be just digging in at this point. They have reinforced the Terni front now that they've moved the troops up from the north. 6 Papal divisions in the mountains have not been able to hold on, where 3 exhausted Russians have held them for months. But we may have an opportunity here, because with the recent redeployment after the threat to Terni, it looks like the troops south of Ancona actually are now sufficiently weakened that we might be able to join the fight and push them out from there. That widens the front line from our side, and if we can get the reserves deployed, we might be able to get them out from there before they reinforce from the north. We can't hold them because the troops are too exhausted, and I'm not wasting my men into frontal suicide assaults. Still defending against enemy counterattacks from the desert. And here, still clearing out positions. All right, Canada wants to buy naval bombers. They can have those. We are short of infantry equipment for the garrisons. Yes, that's what I was afraid of. But that should resolve itself relatively soon. What's the garrison? What's the garrison fulfillment? 75% efficiency. Could be better. We can't do the integration here, no, because it's not an integratable territory. Okay, could be better, but we have relatively good compliance already, so I think this is a temporary state of affairs, and that means our spies actually have sufficient intelligence now on the Ukrainian state that we could launch the first operations. Though infiltrating the civilian administration is probably not going to be a massive thing that we need right now. How many days until we are done? 55 more days. Now I am tempted. I am tempted to to try at least one or two of these. So that would just start resistance. This is basically like a preparation similar to the intelligence operations. I don't need to spend political power on it. Their anti-Germanism would reduce their war support and recruitable population, so that won't be bad. This would be the Mogilev fortification in Belarus. Not necessarily. This would intelligence bonus over the Baltics. This would be a potential coup in Lithuania. That might actually be quite interesting. But no, I will save up the political power for other things. We'll do it later. Still, we still have a bit of time, but I do want to get into partial mobilization. It's really, really necessary. So the 150 political power will need to be saved up for the time being. Alternatively, we'll wait until war breaks out, then do Stavka, and then do these things. But we'll see. How are we doing here? We are. The Moscow Economic Council is finished. We are making progress. There's only one cavalry division left, but they obviously will reinforce from the north if we can't push them out quickly enough. The Germans and socialists both have their own economic union, which they utilize to foster great cooperation among like-minded states, and the German case especially to further their own material interests. Now that Russia has started to gain its own foothold in Europe, perhaps it is about time we follow suit. The Moscow Economic Council will serve as a counterweight to Middle Europa, especially that they have been sanctioning us, and further Russian economic interests abroad. Once again, absolutely no similarities to current events being... intended. This would be Afghanistan. This would be compliance and a few decisions. I think we can just let the compliance tick up by itself. This would be 5% recruitable population factor. This would give us compliance gain, which is actually quite neat, and unlock these. But I think instead we'll see if there's anything we can do here. I think we'll do the air things now in order to enable the radar stations. Yeah, let's do that. So we're not having an awful lot of an air force at this point, but hopefully production can eventually ramp up. Let's see if we can create another. Do we have enough? Yeah, we've got enough for 2 air wings that we can start training, and they shall only train during the day. All right, then they can get their aircraft replaced later on. All right, PSA Frontier. We've got the tanks which are coming under counterattack in Indianapolis, need to organize themselves first. Sicily, let's see if we can manage to push these divisions out. But I think they have reinforced with the 48th, and they're sending more troops in from the north as well. I can divert the 34th north to try and hold the enemy in place. But we're not going to do this for an awful lot longer. So we're just buying a little bit of time, then saving up on the counterattack. And yeah, we're obviously being assaulted. We're being counterattacked in the north, and they have reinforced the positions regardless. So that window of opportunity has closed. And again, we're just on the defense. Egypt troops are recovering. and are waiting for material. However, we do have an opportunity to push south and see if we can take the supply hub of the Ottomans. Decades of defeat, leaving the fratricidal bloodletting of the Civil War aside, have had an indisputably corrosive effect on the morale of the Russian military. Despite high military budgets and veneration of the army, many remember atrocities committed by the whites and still see the military as a tool of the oppressors. Especially after the military humiliation of 28 and the ensuing Boldyrev Putsch, many rallied behind the SZRS with slogans of restoring the army to its former glory. It is no secret that in the 1934 elections, SZRS made huge gains in every garrison town. And now Savinkov is 5 feet under, but the army finds itself greater and stronger than ever in newfound strength. General Field Marshal Pyotr Wrangel styles himself as the savior of Russia and is easily second only to the emperor. Aggressive jingoistic rhetoric is now flowing from the ranks of the army, and the military's revived spirit has proven infectious. The Russian public has begun to express a confidence in its soldiers that would have been unthinkable even just a few short years ago. 5% war support, always good to have. To a degree, obviously, the actions we have fought abroad, or we are fighting abroad, are going to be certainly part of that. All right. Here, okay, we have managed to destroy that one Ottoman division, which means we can now concentrate the troops along. We might actually. We have some Persian troops here defending. We might actually push north of the river towards Deir ez-Zor and use that opportunity. Yeah, that might be the better idea. So let's get the troops consolidated. We're still our target eventually still Mosul, but we're going to concentrate the troops north and see if we can link up with the Syrian forces near Deir ez-Zor, which I think is one of their last. This is one of their last holdouts. That in Mosul. So if we take Mosul as well, that'll cut off most of the supply for the enemies here. Don't have too much trouble with the Kurds at this point, and we do have a few more unassigned divisions, which are obviously going to need to templated shift. And are going to have to go to a, let's see, we've got these armies filled up, so we're going to create a new, and that will be the 5th Field Army here. That's the 8th Army. Who are we going to assign? Ideally, somebody who knows what they're doing and is potentially also an infantry leader, if we have one. Yes. Grishin, he's already got a role, but it's fine. So we'll send him in, and these troops, this army can establish itself as part of the assault force for the United Baltic Duchy. So we're going to give them a front line here, pretty much, and their mission is going to be to take Riga. Obviously, they do need to train, and we do need to train up a few more divisions because they've only got 12 at this point. So we are going to train up 12 more, which are going to have to wait for the tanks to arrive, obviously, because especially the heavy flame tanks, we are very much behind production lines, and everything else as well. We're running a little low here, and we're short on rubber now, so we do have to trade for rubber once more. Kingdom of Siam, well, we'll trade with them for now. What can we do? We do need the rubber, but we have. Do we have rubber income actually? Yes. The problem is obviously that we're exporting, that we are exporting some of it, and or putting it to markets rather, and that is causing trouble. The resistance should should reduce. Yeah, resistance target is 6%. There's a 19% resistance target. Not entirely certain why, but we shall see. Oh, is this the newly? Oh, this is the territory we got concessions from Persia. That's why. All right. Troops in China are struggling to dig out the entrenched Japanese who've been reinforced. Oh, good grief! By a veteran Fengtian division. So yeah, this isn't happening. And with that, I think we are once again we have been foiled and are relegated to pure defensive duties. Same here. We'll just defend. If the Papal States are not committing their forces, then we will not either. We'll do what we can, but we shall not sacrifice Russian lives for Italians who do not wish to fight for their own country. So here we have an opportunity to see if we can potentially rush, cut through and rush. We do have supply in Indianapolis, so maybe we can cut through and join with friendly lines north of Knoxville and cut off a fair amount of troops. Let's see if that succeeds. That would take the supply hub in the south here. We'll drive through Frankfurt, and we do have infantry in Indianapolis, so that should work. They have that defended, but not particularly well. So these troops are quite exhausted. So we may be able to break through that. Here in Egypt, we are suffering again from counterattacks, but but progress is being made on the Persian front quite significantly. They have retaken Basra, really. Okay, and the Persians are just leaving. Okay, we may have to, we'll have to do firefighting duties first. So a new command, troops need to return to the Basra front, retake and secure Basra. Because we can't have Ottoman expansion in the rear here if the Persians are abandoning the lines willy-nilly. So that's that. Here, we might try. No, we don't have the. No, we don't have the. We don't have the strength here for any further offensive operations against these Fengtian divisions. That's not happening. We're not cracking that. Okay, we do have to take care here of the front lines, however. So you need to stay and support the assault south. And we will see if we can drive a wedge between them and link up with friendly troops and cut off another swath of the enemy divisions here. Now they have some defenders under General Wolf in Frankfurt and trying to hold the bridges, but okay, that has actually worked better than I thought. In that case, we don't even. We'll press the attack, but we don't even have to go any further than that. So. We literally just have to take Frankfurt, and then we will have a fair amount of enemy troops cut off. Not as many as we had hoped for, but given that they are they're retreating on all fronts here. So that actually, but we've caught four enemy divisions, and. This doesn't gain us anything, so we'll just help dealing with the encircled divisions here first. Chinese position, we will not assault this fortification head on. That would be silly, but we are about to take the supply hub in Tabuk, and we'll see what that does to the enemy supply lines. While we are shipping through, they're immediately expanding out of Basra. That means we want to be here. So we do need the divisions there as quickly as possible because it's a major Ottoman operation. I don't know if they've made a naval landing or if they literally just walked through the desert. Yemen is still fighting, but that has put another dent in our offensive operations but such is the situation. All right, there we're breaking through, and we are destroying the last of these enemy divisions here. And then yeah, I'm not sure where the troops went that that were holding Frankfurt, but I think we can already. Yeah, they might have fled north. We can actually already force the river here. We'll send the fourth mechanized over. China is going to be purely defensive and wait for an opportunity. And here, the same thing. We are simply going to defend this line. And that's all we're going to do, because we are so outnumbered that there's little else. All right, the supply hub has been taken, which means there's an opportunity to encircle and destroy a few divisions that are trapped here along the coast. So let's see that we can cut them off, and we'll just have to be careful not to overstretch the lines. But that would be a pretty decent position to hold, I believe. So let's get them cut off. Friendly troops, yeah, the Ottomans are already rapidly expanding, which means yes, they are rapidly expanding into the Persian hinterland from Basra. So that obviously needs to be pushed back, and push it back. We shall. So 3 Guards divisions on the assault into the enemy lines, and not as effective as I was kind of hoping. Are they still waiting for the? They should have some flame tanks already. So I'm kind of curious to see. Oh yeah, the flame tanks are playing into that massively already, because the Ottoman regulars, which are not equipped with anything but rifles, cannot deal with them effectively. So that's that. All right, we have taken Frankfurt and pushed the enemy out. We've destroyed a few more syndicalist divisions in the process. And that leaves the question, where do we push next? I think the next target, if I can get the lines here. Okay, that's messed itself up because it's two different states. Can we adjust this now? Yes, we can. Okay, but I do need all divisions on that, please. And the next target should be probably Toledo. We'll swing north and just keep clearing out enemy territory. There's still a surprising amount of enemy forces around, but we will deal with them. We will deal with them as we get to it. They might be just re-recruiting militia, like there are some regular divisions, but a lot of this is militia. So they might be able to just recruit them at speed. All right, we have managed to trap these 2 enemy divisions. So we will get and wipe these out, further weakening the Ottoman forces in the area. Aleppo held by the enemy, but at least the lines appear to be mostly static at this point. And the push into Ahvaz has been defeated. And I think the counterattack towards Basra is gaining steam. Now the question is, how are we on supply? Because we are not holding Basra, which means the northern positions are cut off from supply because we're not holding the river line. And the Ottomans can shoot at supply barges coming across the river, and there is no railway. So we'll have to make do with what we've got. Right, with 90 political power, we can finally start building up the Political Advisory Council. And I think I'm going to start with Kartashev, Anton Kartashev, who gives us 8% research speeds. Either him, he would be good. So we've got a few really good ones. We've got the Spiritual Democrat, who is 8% defense against major countries. So obviously, if we're fighting the Germans, that would make sense. We could get this one for 8% research and 5% political power gain. We could get 15% consumer goods factories, but actually our consumer goods factor is already relatively low due to the new Russian capitalism. So that's actually one pushed that down quite a bit already. This would be 10% political power gain and compliance, but not by an awful lot. 10% political power is pretty good as well, but not going to pay off very quickly. So 7 for construction and research, and we have the Minister of Everything, which would be 5% construction and 10% factory output. So it's research versus factory output. We're actually doing all right on the research, but I'm still key. Research, if I can speed it up, produces factory output as well. So I think what we're going to be doing is getting the Orthodox faithful Anton Kartashev into the fold for now, which is going to increase our political power gain and is going to speed up overall research. As we can already see here, I think it should be plus 8% from him. That is pretty massive. So that speeds up overall research, which is a good thing. Talking about orthodoxy, the first tenet of new Russian monarchy is, as always, orthodoxy, as the Tsar is the defender of the faith and the anointed one, the God-appointed protector of all Russian people. Faith and the Tsar share one purpose, that of the protection of Russian values and peace. The second tenet, instead of failed autocracy, is the constitution. The values of the February Revolution were already accepted by Grand Prince Kirill: democracy, parliamentarism, and constitutionalism. The Tsar is blessed by God, but he governs with the consent of the Russian people, acting also as the protector of Russian democracy. The third tenet is nationality, or narodism. Russia's strength flows from the peasants, and the ancient Russian culture is what keeps the nation's various ethnic groups together. The shared folk culture of peasant Russia, briefly tainted by Savinkov, must also serve as the basis for the democracy. Long live the emperor. Yes, this is the Russia we have built. It is a democratic Russia. It is a liberal Russia with a 46% market liberal share of the government. But we also have other voices and representation for others that are part of it, and with all of that united under a young emperor who is rather popular. Anyway, let's have one last look at the front lines, and then I think we can end the episode for today. So that we're not breaking. Tanks are getting ready here for further assaults for the next assault north. And I think we're probably just going to cut off the troops here at the front line. So yeah, let's begin moving. We'll leave the 4th behind and just push in behind enemy lines, cut off the divisions at the front line, and that is that. Momentum, I think, unless am I wrong, or did the Union lose ground here? I thought they were already. It looks like they lost ground on the coast here, but we'll see. Yeah, Italy, we're literally just digging in at this point. Not wasting any further Russian lives on that. They've now got 16 divisions stationed near Rome, and half of them are. There's another 5 divisions here that are just simply not participating in any kind of offensive action. So we'll just hold the lines here. In Egypt, I'm not sure why we have stopped destroying, but we shall be destroying the encircled Ottoman troops. And given the retaking of Basra, it almost feels like we have to secure we do have to secure the desert. So since we've got both forces here at the time, we could try to knock out the Jabal Shamar by taking their capital, and I think that will be the desert war to end this, to end all wars here. So we'll be once we've retaken Basra, we'll be moving in with the Persian expeditionary forces, the 70th, 73rd, and 74th from the east, and at the same time the Egyptian expeditionary with the 68th, 69th, and 75th Guards from the west towards Hail. I will try to take the enemy capital and once and for all root out the problems that we've been having emerging here from the desert. And then there's probably still some more Ottoman resistance on the ground here, but this needs to be dealt with before we can make any further offensive actions north. So that has to happen. Resistance should calm down. That's the last look. Yeah, most of this has a resistance targets of 0. So that is going to accept this one. But the resistance will come down. So this is not this is a temporary issue with the infantry equipment. And most of this is, or a lot of this is from garrison reinforcements. So I might actually, at least temporarily, prioritize garrisons for new equipment. And with that, we are inching yet another step forward, slowly but irretrievably, towards the eventual war in Europe. We're starting to have large troop accumulations in place. The Russian industry is still ramping up, as it should, slower than desired, but we are eventually going to get there. We are almost at 5 factories for the towed AA. And we're going to be building up the flame tank production, currently at 1 per day. This is just not enough, but we should get that up to probably about 2 per day, if not a bit more. So that should eventually resolve the shortage here. And we are going to we're going to have more trucks, and we're going to eventually start building out self-propelled artillery if we ever get to it. The armored trains actually have the armored trains could get an MIO upgrade. Production cost. Do I want to spend? Nah, I don't want to spend Army XP on that. And we actually have 130 Army XP, so I can, and this is going to be the last thing I'll do. I can pick the next. I can pick the next factor here. Yeah. So tanks will get 10% breakthrough. And we're making our way south towards. We'll see which branch I'm going to be taking, the right or left. I think anything that goes onto soft attack is probably going to be my preference here, especially that the Russian Air Force is still relatively minimal. But we're starting to be a little better prepared for the eventual war in Europe.